morning, everyone. Today we have with us Professor Soyoung Yook. Since 2001, she has taught intellectual property law at the Chungnam National University Law School in Korea. Currently, she is the Dean of the Chungnam National University Law School. She wrote articles regarding legal protection of traditional knowledge and participated in 2012 International Conference on ICH Safeguarding. Also, she was a speaker for several WIPO sub-regional workshops and gave lectures entitled Traditional Knowledge, Genetic Resources, and Traditional Cultural Expressions Towards a Suitable Protection System. Thank you so much for being here with us, Professor Soyoung Yook. I give you the floor.
Thank you for introducing me, Professor. So let's get started. Considering intangible cultural heritage may be valuable intangible assets, there will be two ways to protect ICH under Korean law. One is to protect it as intellectual property. Another is to preserve ICH as it is. As for the protection as intellectual property, Korea is known as having well-established legal system for intellectual property. However, due to a few features of ICH, it is hard for ICH to be protected as intellectual property in Korea. ICH is the resource developed or sustained over the centuries within a community. From the perspective of intellectual property law, followings can be found from the features of ICH. First, the collective nature of its creative process is not compatible with the modern legal system. We cannot decide when protectable ICH was made. Second, the origin of the ICH is difficult to trace, or sometimes the author is unknown, and even every human being may contribute to the creation of ICH. Therefore, the ownership of ICH under intellectual property law is arguably a policy issue rather than theoretical one. Let's talk about individual intellectual property law. First, patent is a statutory granted monopoly to an invention for a limited period. To be protected as patent, several requirements such as novelty, non-obviousness, and usefulness must be satisfied. However, ICH is difficult to satisfy novelty requirements because of its cumulative nature. Also, it is hard to identify a creator of the inventive step. Therefore, ICH is not fit for patent protection. Several cases on patent application and registration have been reported in Korea. For example, improved national archery and its manufacturing method, mold composition for high print metal type casting, and manufacturing method of Korean paper for backing paper are registered as patents. However, several patents related to ICH have been reported to being nullified. Copyright law can be considered to protect in traditional expression that cannot be protected as patents. The requirement of copyright protection is originality. No fixation is required under copyright law in Korea. However, ICH is cumulative and has no originality. Also, it has been created by several generations and can be no identifiable also. There are some cases to protect traditional expression under copyright law, but protection is not given to the original form of traditional expression, but adaptation of traditional expression. Hitting necktie is the example of adaptation of traditional Korean gon, gon, gam, 리, and 태극. ICH is usually generated by local community. So trademark law protects only registered mark which functions as indication of source of product. Registration is required for trademark protection in Korea. Local community can register the name of the community as a collective mark or certification mark with geographical indication in Korea. Trademark law does not protect ICA's intangible cultural heritage directly, but it protects the mark affixed to the product from ICH. The product originated only from ICH can affix the mark. Accordingly, ICH can be protected indirectly because the product only originated from ICH can affix the mark registered. 전주한지 is one example of the collective mark with the geographical indication for 한지, one of ICH in Korea. So far, I briefly explained how ICH can be protected under intellectual property law in Korea. However, intellectual property law does not cover all ICH. Also, it may not be proper to give exclusive rights to some limited people for limited period under intellectual property law. Another alternative way is to preserve intangible cultural heritage as it is. The administrative agency of preserving ICH in Korea is Cultural Heritage Administration. The part of its missions is conservation of cultural heritage. This mission actually is fulfilled by National Intangible Heritage Center established on the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. The mission of National Intangible Heritage Center are conservation, transmission, research, investigation, archiving, and promotion of intangible cultural heritage. Also, Korea Cultural Heritage Foundation is established on the Cultural Heritage Protection Act. The parts of its missions are managing concerts, exhibitions, and cultural experience programs for the transmission and dissemination of intangible heritage. Finally, let's review laws of intangible cultural heritage in Korea. Well, first of all, there is Cultural Heritage Protection Act. It was enacted in 1962 and has amended several times. The most recent amendment was made in 2022, this year, actually. It established the fundamental principle of protection for both tangible and intangible cultural heritage. However, preservation and promotion of intangible cultural heritage is delegated to National Intangible Heritage Center under the Act on the Safeguarding and Promotion of Intangible Cultural Heritage. The Article 3 of the Act provides basic principle of safeguarding and promotion of ICH as maintaining the archetype of ICH. Under Article 3, basic principle shall include cultivation of national identity, transmission and development of traditional culture, and realization and enhancement of the value of intangible cultural heritage. The Article 5 of the Act stipulates that successors of intangible cultural heritage shall endeavor to transmit and develop that intangible cultural heritage by devotedly engaging in activities for transmitting such intangible cultural heritage. The Article 37 of the Act provides the support for transmission by state or local government. It says that the state or local governments shall provide the following support within budgetary limits for the safeguarding and promotion of intangible cultural heritage. First, the state or local government shall support to successors in purchasing raw materials for traditional craft products. Second, the state or local government shall support for facilities and equipment necessary for the performance, exhibitions, etc. by successors. The third, the state or local government may support for activities of successors for elementary and secondary education and lifelong education. That is all I prepared for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here with us. And thank you for providing us with a comprehensive overview of the legislation adopted in Korea on ACH. And thank you so much.